Vodafone presents the pre-match.
It's Championship Sunday here at the Spodek Arena. Welcome back to ESL One Katowice 2019. Just 3 teams left in contention to lift the trophy. Who's it going to be? We're going to find out over the next few hours as we head towards the grand final. But first up, we've got the lower bracket final between 2 teams who have plenty of form between each other over the last 7 games, all of which have gone the way of Gambit. Kryptonite? Who knows? Let's find out from Shiva right now whether she can talk to FNG and find out whether it is Kryptonite or not.
Well, let me indeed ask that. FNG, Paul just mentioned that you guys have a really good track record when it comes to OG. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, as I said before, I think they have some kind of maybe tilt or whatever when they're playing against us. I'm sure they're a strong team and they're doing a lot of good stuff. Maybe they're not reached this point where they have like billion of heroes that they can play and play around their drafts. I like their team, by the way, in a way that they're really similar to us. We are playing our own strategies, they're playing their own strategies, and eventually, if you grow up to some kind of good hero pool, you will do really well.
All right, well, that sounds very promising for today, for sure. How is the mood in the team? Because obviously yesterday, you guys playing on stage was the first time being on such a stage for a couple of your guys. How was it? I mean, obviously the result wasn't as you hoped, but I'm sure that the experience helped.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's always a great experience to sit on stage in face of crowd and just play some good games. Unfortunately, it wasn't good games for some people, for us as well, but I hope today at least we're gonna play some good dots.
Yeah, you're confident and your team is in good spirits?
Yeah, of course.
And you're gonna face off against your former teammate, ILTW. Any special beef there, or looking forward to play him?
We're gonna tip him a lot, for sure. We always do it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. I gotta ask you a game-related question though, because one of the commentaries, of course, from yesterday's series was the opening of the Nyx and Visage. Is there anything you want to say to us about doing that a second time in a row? Because there were some question marks from some people.
No, for sure not. I mean, as I said, I believe in some other interview or whatever, usually you come to some team like Secret with some idea, one idea, and you want to test it like on full potential. So this idea didn't work out. In group stage we were playing Ursa, it didn't work out, so we're gonna go to next idea. But obviously against OG, we're not gonna like think same level as Secret, because Secret is like super strong team. But against OG, we might just draft something normal.
Okay, so you got something in mind?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play against OG on the stage. I wish you good luck to your team, and perhaps see you after the match.
Thank you.
Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much. You can see he's had some time as an analyst on a panel, can't you? He's very well spoken, of course, and got his own thoughts on his own team as well as the other teams out there as well. And I'm sure, as he promised, plenty of CIS tipping going to be happening in this particular matchup. We're back with our panel once more. Let's get some thoughts from them on our 2 teams, and we'll start, gents, with Gambit. Alan, it's interesting, FNG, he's a very smart guy. He's been around the block, he knows what he's doing, and you heard what he said about it. He tried one idea, didn't work. Tried a second idea, didn't work. But when it comes to OG, they don't have to figure that out.
Yeah. Feels like all their ideas work, and you say he's been around the block. He actually, early at this event, played his 1400th professional game. That's top 25 all time. This guy has been a part of so many of the great CIS teams across the ages, and it's such an asset, right? Having these veteran guys, you may not know as much about FNG or Alpha Ninja as some of these other players, but you know, Alpha Ninja just played it at TI.
Absolutely. I think one of the things too is, I mean, we don't really talk about FNG as this legendary captain, even though he's been around for such a long time. He was, like, with that VP when he had them, he was just an absolute, like, beast. Every single time, everyone was not really regarding his drafting, they were regarding his team. And I feel like FNG has actually been overlooked a lot of these times. Yeah,
Cap, do you feel like maybe history hasn't been kind to him? Obviously, they haven't won tournaments, so that's partly why he's not regarded as a high-end captain. But he's always had the smarts, and maybe if we look back in history, he's helped teams perhaps overperform. Now we've got the context. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay, they didn't win anything, but maybe whenever he goes to a team, he improves them.
He had Lil on his team.
Yes.
And that team looked really good when they had Lil, and they had FNG.
Yes.
So maybe there's something about his captaining that is able to make certain players work where otherwise they have not been able to see the same kind of success. I think that FNG definitely is a smart guy. I think part of it is, yes, obviously they haven't been winning big-time tournaments, but also the fact that, you know, you had a little bit of break, right? And I think people just, like, once they see a player has a break, they think when they come back, it's like, oh, you're washed up. You know, like you should have just stayed retired, those sort of things. But FNG has come back with a vengeance, and he's definitely proven that he should be considered, you know, easily top 10 captains.
It's funny actually. I don't know whether you guys follow CS much, but there's a similar story, a narrative from last year with Gambit in CS. Where Zeus left Na'Vi, he was the big star, he was the captain, he was the guy that could corral everyone, bring them to the stage. He went to Gambit, which were almost unknown at the time. They had some reasonable guys, but no one that had won any big tournaments. And he was the galvanizing force. He was the guy that brought that team to a major win, which is unbelievable. It seems like Gambit liked these kind of characters.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
And it, particularly in the CIS region. I mean, I just remember this conversation I had 2 years ago with Solo so vividly, that for so many years they had so much talent in the CIS region, but these teams would never stay together, and the big organizations would come along and poach your superstars. And FNG, I think, has really suffered from that. And you have to have that veteran galvanizing presence in this kind of a region. Unless you're a VP, which has achieved something truly unique, FNG has got to be the glue that holds this kind of a team together.
I think it's the perfect team for him, though. I actually like when I've been watching them. I think it's actually just like the perfect fit because these guys play so many different heroes, and they've been. Yeah. I mean, Immersion for me was one of the ones that I didn't really know too much when he first picked him up, and he's been pretty spectacular on a lot of his fours. But like Afro Ninja, this guy has been really close to just like dominating all the tier 1 players. Like in pubs, he just plays so many different heroes, and he just. Yeah, he has such an impact, so I think they fit really well for him.
There's a little bit of me that wonders just whether if FNG went to a Western team outside of CS, just how much success he might have had, but I guess we'll never know. Let's move on to OG. Right now, we've got them waiting back in the wings, of course, ready to come out on the stage. But before we get to that, before we talk about them here on the panel, why don't we check in with Topson for his thoughts after an incredible victory yesterday evening.
I feel good that we got top 3 this tournament. It's been a while since we have performed well, so it always feels good. I think we've been playing better and better every day. We learn new stuff and we're more confident. I can't really tell too much about their playstyle. I mean, we just we're comfortable heroes we play. We pick heroes we love to play, and then we just make our strategies with those. We are not exhausted or anything. It's I mean, we have played in TI, it's a longer tournament than this, and I love playing Dota, and it's just every day so much fun. Gambit has been a hard opponent for us almost every time, and they have a few really good strategies they use, and we just need to find something against it, and we will beat them. Team Secret is definitely one of the best teams right now, and when we played against him, we went 1-1, and yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it if we make it to finals, so we get to decide who's the better team now.
Great to hear from the man himself. It seems odd, gents, doesn't it, that we're talking about the TI champions being the underdogs in a match versus Gambit. How different Dota can be 6 months on.
Yeah. I mean, underdogs, they've been improving so much, but because it's first Gambit, yeah, it's just...
Yeah, just seems a bit weird, because if you think about... Because other people don't follow Dota too much, they're like, oh, so Gambit are better than OG, so they can win TI this year. Yeah, it doesn't really work like that in Dota.
Dota's not rock, paper, scissors.
It doesn't really work like that.
It really isn't.
No, but it's an interesting matchup, and Topson obviously said in that interview, Fog, that they recognise it. They understand that, you know, he said they have a couple of styles. I think they have more than that, but he said they have a couple of styles which are really good, which makes me think that internally OG have spoken about this, and they figured that actually there are 2 styles which they find very difficult to play against.
I mean, OG is, I would say, one of the better preparation teams. I think we got to see that at TI especially, too. So if you look at the way that Gambit's drafting, sure, like I mentioned, they do have a large variety of heroes that they do use, but they like to stick to their core. If they can get them, they'll just take them. They're not going to vary out and just be like, oh, we're going to change it up so much. So I think that's where, yeah, I think that's where OG's like could have a slight edge because they're just, yeah, they're crazy at prep.
And I like what FNG had to say about that idea is that, like, as a good team, all you have to do is secure like these really good strategies, a couple of them, and then just grow them over time, right? Yeah. And you can feel that kind of that concept of building up your team.
Definitely felt like that yesterday, didn't it, Alan? Yeah. They added a few more, the Tide, the Mirana, the Earthshake. Just add a few more, make it a little bit wider, make the other teams think about a few more heroes that they can play. It's starting to feel like they actually have got a good grip on this.
Absolutely, and I think that, again, we go all the way back to the Frankfurt Major in 2015 when OG started their big run as a franchise, as a team. they were called a one-patch team even after they won that tournament. They were called a two-patch team after they won their next tournament. You don't have to play everything. You have to play just enough so that the other team can't ban you out and counter you. And I think that's what you're seeing from this OG squad in terms of their development. Again, though, the question is always, if their top line strat gets taken away, can they find a way in the game to make those adjustments? It's not, their strategy is clear. The question is, can they do it on the fly?
Yeah, I'm so curious to just, I'm honestly just looking forward to the first 3 bans.
Right.
That's actually
super
right.
On both sides as well,
on
right?
Both sides,
yeah.
exactly.
See whether they follow the Fnatic thought, which was that we talked about this yesterday, all the way through the tournament, focus on No-Tail, get rid of 3 of his good heroes, that limits their pool a little bit. Fnatic went the other way and went, no, we're going to focus on the cores and get rid of the cores. Which way did Gambit go?
In the last time, they focused on, I mean, they took out the Ember and the Troll, which I think looked pretty damn good. I think the Monkey King overall, I mean, I don't want to say the heroes are figured out because people are still all playing and it's still a super strong hero, but I think teams are learning how to play against it and they're catching it off guard a lot of the time. So those look pretty good. And at least the thing is that Gambit, they play all these other heroes. It's not like yesterday where Fnatic was like, okay, we don't play Coddle or Chen, so OG's just like, all right, we can just first pick Furion and stuff like that. So that's where I feel like they can actually have a good fight because they play everything.
Okay, I want to get more from all 3 of you in just a moment. We've still got plenty more to talk about here on the panel, but it is time to introduce you to our 2 teams.
Katowice Championship Day is here! Our first team has a streak going in wins against our TI8 champions. Will they continue to get that streak going? We're gonna find out as we welcome to the stage, Gambit! So I was backstage before coming in and bumped into Seb, and I said, how do you feel about this match against Gambit? He said, well, they've been taking a few games from us, but that will end today. Let's see if that would be the case as we welcome to the stage your TI8 champions, OG! Katowice, your lower bracket grand final is here! Gambit versus OG!
The stage is set for a fantastic lower bracket final between Gambit and OG. Players will get themselves settled. We're also settled here at the panel, ready to discuss the draft that is inevitably ahead of us and some of the heroes that we might see. But before we get there, we're still finishing off talking about OG, and I do want to continue the discussion that you guys were having just before the walk-ins.
So I don't know if the stats back it up, but I was curious because the way I feel about OG is when I look at the Ember Spirit and Troll, and then I think there's one other hero, which is the Magnus. I feel like those are the 3 heroes that OG are most successful in the later stages of the game.
They do back them up as well, don't they, Alan?
Yes,
stat-wise.
very much so.
Yeah.
Magnus is certainly, I think Magnus is on a tier by itself when you talk about OG, when you talk about the fact that Seb is riding an 11-game win streak with that hero. Wow. But you guys were talking about something that I think was very interesting. You guys brought up the role of the Monkey King. And if you look at the last 2 drafts, when these 2 teams played each other earlier at this event, what happened was they banned out the Troll and the Ember, and they got CK'd in the first phase. They took the Monkey King, all right, in the first phase once, and the third overall pick the second time, and they got 10th pick Razor. And that really sort of arrested Topson. That's been, when we talk about OG not being able to recover when Plan A is taken away, a lot of times Plan A is Topson. And that Alpha Ninja Razor just took Topson completely out of the game. Alpha was 27, 2, and 17 in those 2 games. That mid matchup is going to be huge. Other thing, Gambit has been abusing second pick. They've been second pick in 12 out of the last 13 drafts, and in 10 out of those 12 drafts, they have last picked Alpha Ninja Zero.
I think there's no way we're going to be seeing that sort of situation again because it happened with the other game too, right? I think OG had Lifestealer. Yeah. And the Lifestealer, like the matchup in Chaos Knight is difficult, and then you're into a Razor as well. We've seen that Lifestealer has still holding like a very high priority in picks at both this tournament as well as MDL. The success of the hero hasn't been like as dominant as the pick rate would suggest.
Correct.
It's like, I think it's 50% at MDL. And I think it's like the hero's definitely still very good. It's just, there are a lot of meta heroes that match up against it.
Right.
I want to ask all 3 of you what sort of stock you put on the 3 series that have been played between these 2 teams, because there are mitigating circumstances in all 3 of them. As we do see those Emperor, Troll, Prophets. So
they did this twice.
They've split that, haven't they? Yeah.
That was Shadow Fiend was their opening ban in both previous games. They took out the SF and the Visage, OG did, in both the 2 previous games. I like this a lot better. Okay, because I don't think Gambit's Visage, first of all, yesterday we saw against Secret, looks like it may have been figured out a little bit. And their SF Visage, I don't think their SF is nearly as potent without the Dahak Visage.
Definitely. I also, look, Gambit's first pick. So they don't have that overall last one.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to point out the Lifestealer, by the way, will finish this tournament as the most contested. It can't be overtaken now.
Oh, wow.
So in terms of pixel bans, it's
no
91% right now. Yep.
Well, this is the thing. So 2 out of the 3 no-tail big no-tail heroes in the Chen and the Nature's Prophet get taken out. Gambit will take the other one on the board. The Enchantress is still there if they want it. I'm curious if they'll go in that direction.
And OG are also leaving out the Visage, which they didn't do last time, which is kind of a dangerous situation because Gambit are going to be able to go and second pick it if they want, and then go into some bans, right? Unless OG, you know, preemptively at least have some heroes that can't deal with the Visage, which, especially with a team like Gambit, if we were talking about somebody else like Secret, and we were talking about the what was their combination, like Leshrac, Kunkka, like if it's something like that, you would say we can't preemptively pick against that because Secret has such a wealthy hero pool. But against Gambit, like, they've been doing the same kind of stuff over and over again. So you're very likely to see, you know, the Nyx Assassin, this Visage, like, you can kind of draft into that, I think.
Yeah, but I think, so the Monkey King they're going to go ahead and pick up in the first phase. I think
Interesting.
The Secret Series was very informative because when you talk about Gambit's Visage, it's not just how to counter Visage, it's how to counter their particular way of playing the hero. And I thought that when you saw Puppey take the Brewmaster for that AoE offensive purge, take away the ability of Dahak to rush that Crimson Guard to protect the Gravekeeper's Cloak in the mid-game, all of a sudden that became a hero that in these 15-20 minute fights you could go on. And they just basically didn't let him leave that bottom lane area. When they play that hero, they're so active around the map. This is the other thing, though. Secret banned this hero first phase both times in the game against them yesterday. I think Dahak's Ursa has been every bit as good as his Visage. They are 10-3 in the last 13 games on that hero.
He likes to play versus Monkey King too.
Yep.
It's one of those matchups that can go both ways, of course, but an Ursa can just eat a Monkey King before he gets anything off.
Yeah, Monkey King doesn't like playing versus Coddle either.
No, he does not. You just get blinding light. You get pushed out of your ult.
Out of your tree and your ultimate. It's not a fun situation for you.
No, definitely not.
Enchantress, obviously, like for a long time, hasn't liked Ursa. It's a little bit better than it used to be, just because you can dispel.
There's a historical ban from OG. They've got some PTSD over the Medusa from 3 of the last 7 games against Gambit. Did you want to pick up on that point I was going to make as we headed into the draft? We kind of got cut off there about the three series. The first series is online, so you kind of go, it's online.
Yeah.
The second series is at the minor, first tournament for ILTW. There are mitigating circumstances. The group stage, okay, I think that's the first legit Gambit series win over them, where they seem to be in the right place, as it were.
And they lost the same way.
And they lost the same way, yeah. Like, which would suggest then that you would go, okay, maybe we do put more stock on the previous series.
Yeah, I think the last 2 series have definitely been meaningful. Again, when you talk about,
I think even with ILTW,
No, I think
he's
it's
only
less
been there
meaningful
like a
because
day,
of the
right?
fact that in this tournament they lost in the same to like 2 games in the same kind of draft.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, I feel like OG is easily the team that would learn from that the most. You know,
I don't know. I don't know how to parse that just because that stat is still screaming at me that if you take away the 4 games against Gambit, OG are 24-1 in sub 30-minute games.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Gambit are the team that's figured them out. And part of it is picking these heroes for Dahak like Ursa that can both pressure their particular lane and can get active around the map so early and have kill potential on Thompson's hero.
And they set him up for success too. Like I was mentioning a lot of times when the Ursas were being picked, I was talking about the Veno a lot in the panels, even though we hadn't seen it even touched. And they take it out. They're making sure this Ursa can have a great game. And okay, they just pick
isn't it a really good Viper
I mean,
game now?
this comes back to what FNG said in the interview beforehand. They've both got their ways of playing, and they're going to stick to it.
Especially after what we've seen with at MDL, right? The Viper getting picked up against the Monkey King. And I think, Paul, what you were saying is really important, right? Gambit is a team that's going to stick to their guns.
Of course.
Okay? They're a team that was on fire with Ursa, had won 10 straight games, all of a sudden lost 3 straight, and had no hesitation picking it up in the 4th game. That we know that. I am a little bit surprised that they didn't take out the PA Gambit in the 2nd phase. I like that Magnus ban, but I thought Mag PA were definitely going to be their 2 2nd phase bans.
I feel like you have to know that they're picking PA here. They've literally played Ember, Troll, or PA pretty much exclusively on ILTW. Maybe Lifestealer or 2 there, and give or take. But
How much does FNG knowing what ILTW likes to play, how much does that come into this series?
I think it's huge.
Well, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
He will know which ones he likes playing, and they'll have had discussions about it in the past.
Yeah. And he's got, Eastern European player, right? FNG will know him very, very well.
And they also know he's a tilter. He's a tilter.
Only if you tip him a lot.
Only if you tip him.
So they're gonna try to ban.
Yeah.
Can they fit Venge into the lineup? Do you think Venge is a viable support? Is basically what I'm
played
asking.
it yesterday,
I thought it was really
OG?
cool though that OG, the way they did it with PA last time.
I want this. I will throw this out right now. I want this to be a 4-position Monkey King.
So then he's gonna need something like a Darkseer or something to enable him, right?
That's fine. That's fine. Darkseer hasn't been one of Seb's better heroes
I don't
necessarily.
like him on it personally.
Okay.
I like this way better.
This is Secret's answer.
I think you have to pick a brew here. You have to pick a team fighter in specific. You're fighting versus an Earthspirit Coddle at the moment. Right now, you look at OG's draft and they have like no team fight. It's the Monkey King ulti. But then when they pick the Brew, it's starting to look much better. They can actually try to take these fights versus this Coddle and Earthspirit.
And simultaneously, OG can't outgreed Gambit the way like Secret was able to do. Sure. Like, one of the big ways they abuse the fact that they have this special thing with Visage where they just go in jungle with Ancients is that they felt compelled to go fight despite the fact they were getting that extra efficiency because Secret had outgreeded them.
Yep. Yeah. Is that Brewer preempt to the fact that they thought Gambit might want to go to Visage again?
Not necessarily. I think that the Brew is just a solid all-around pick here in terms of the team fight stability that it provides, just like these guys were saying.
I think he's also an aura buyer for the PA,
exactly.
which is pretty important.
I think the biggest thing to me here is that, again, Gambit don't get that final pick. So this Monkey King is still open. So Gambit are going to have to show. It's probably we're probably looking at something like an OD here for Ninja. I would also I think Kunkka's probably still okay too. Although the laning matchup there against the Monkey King, I'm not sure about.
Kunkka would give them a crazy. I mean, I love Kunkka.
I do too.
Like right now, I think their catch is a little bit limited. It's pretty reliant on the Earth Spirit, so having an extra method of catching would be pretty sweet.
And the thing is, I also think what Kunkka does is with core Brew, I feel like you're much more cooldown reliant than you would be when Brew was on support, like with Secret.
What about Storm Spirit? There is like no disable on OG.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same sort of thing as, do OG need to be careful of the Huskar as well?
They have a lot of physical damage on OG.
Yeah.
That's, like,
the Storm's probably the better one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a Boundless Strike as the disable right now versus the Storm. And he has a Coddle on his team who can feed him mana.
Storm is a sick call.
They banned the Timber. That also,
OG
I think that would have also
banned Timber in like 6 straight drafts.
Yeah, I think that also would have been pretty devastating for them. Same thing. There's not really a whole lot of disables, and this, Timber would have destroyed the
Yeah.
The downside of Storm is that he's matched into Monkey King for the laning phase, where Timbersaw loves that matchup.
That is a good point.
But the other thing is, when you see the Doom on the other side, you also have to respect OG's 5th pick Oracle. They love drafting that hard save for Jerax.
Yeah. They're looking for an ILTW hero here, right? For OG? If we assume that Monkey King is a 4?
No, I think ILTW is the PA.
Okay.
The flex values in the Monkey King, is that going to be Thompson or Jerax?
Right.
And so it's down to whether or not you want to pivot back to something like Nyx is still on the board, Oracle is still on the board, or whether you turn around for something like a Thompson Invoker.
That's probably the OD. Oh, wow.
They're going to take the Viper.
You were saying it earlier, it looks like a great Viper game.
Now is where I think they pivot and make the Monkey King a support.
Yeah.
That is a super strong Viper pick. Now it's that hero they can rally around. Gives them, like, it's like a bit, actually it's catch now too, because you go this Atos build. So that provides them catch. It's going to break both the Monkey King and the PA inside of the fights.
So what can beat Viper in lane? Pugna, Drow, Invoker, something like that?
There's a lot of heroes that beat him in lane. Because the first few levels, you don't like put pressure. You farm really well, but you don't put pressure so much anymore on this Viper.
Also, part of the danger is that you can beat the Viper in a one-on-one. They also have to consider that there's going to be an Earth Spirit.
Sure.
So there's certain heroes, like we were watching
and there's
that.
the Invoker.
It is the Invoker.
That's what I was convinced OG was going to go that direction. I think they figured Gambit out. I really do.
It provides a lot. It gives them more team fight too, so now they're not only reliant on that Brewmaster.
That to me, that Invoker pick tells me that OG have made the adjustment, because I think in an earlier draft they would have left Thompson on that Monkey King. They'd have left him in that incredibly unfavorable matchup. I think OG has this figured out.
I think the Invoker has to have a good game. I know he's probably gonna go for the Quas-Wex build. I think he has to, because otherwise it's far too greedy. I think if the Invoker has a bad game, this could be like a super fast stomp from Gambit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's still a really good Viper game, and he's got the Earth Spirit rolling in on an Invoker. Like, I could see Invoker having a bad laning phase. You've got a PA versus a Viper who doesn't like that matchup at all.
Doom into Invoker as well.
But remember, that Invoker, the Quas-Wex Invoker, once he gets to about level 5, once he gets those 2 or 3 points in Quas, he's much more robust against those early roams.
Yeah,
so it's like, can Thompson get to that 5-ish minute mark where he's got the 3 points in Quas, and I think he's fine.
All right.
I don't think you are fine, actually.
Okay.
Earth Spirit rolls on you, he kicks you back into a... I don't care how tanky you are.
I'm
still dying.
I'm a bit worried for OG, but it's really going to be all eyes on that mid lane.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, we're ready for game number 1. These guys are a little bit indecisive as to the way this could go, so in theory, we should be in for a very good game between OG and Gambit, game number 1.
Well, Red Eye's giving us a theory that this could be a good game 1. I'm happy to go along with that one. For Gambit versus OG, it's the first game of our best of 3 lower bracket. Who will advance forward to face up against Team Secret? We decide that here and now. Kyle, how do you feel? The panel was bouncing around a little bit. They were swinging one way, then swinging the other, and the question mark of how the Viper is going to work as well. A new hero, which we've actually been watching Team Liquid already this morning. First phase picking this hero.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely more valuable than I think the meta at this tournament's giving it credit for. And if you look at the side of OG, he disables 4 passives of the enemy side. That's why you have to make the Monkey King a support here, because if he's standing in Nether Toxin, you actually don't even acquire Jingu stacks. Makes your hero pretty much unplayable. And I think the Gambit lineup's going to be able to play with a ton of tempo here. OG's going to need a big performance from No-Tail influencing the lanes.
So you get a fast tempo. You have Doombringer as well with crap tons of money. If they can actually get this kill onto Hawk very early on, the extra bonus damage is there. And that will be first blood going to the Monkey King, who is in that support role.
How did he die? Ursa has a 25 move speed advantage on those heroes. I know you get hit by the Uv, but how did they get in range of him in the first place? Did he just walk up that high ground?
Yeah, he was walking up the high ground. He was looking like he was trying to make an aggressive ward, but already planted the observe ward in mid lane. Weird. So maybe trying to run a distraction play and saying, I'm running in front of Roshan to now plant this ward. Just hilarious to watch 23 seconds in and that bounty rune still exists up on top. These things have been probably the most contested
This is cool. They're going to be laning aggressively with the Enchantress and the PA. I expect that we'll probably see a TP from Jerax at some point, but this is really favorable for OG because they have a support Monkey King against a dual melee off lane, and Enchantress up top can just smack this Ursa in the face, one of the only ranged heroes with somewhat adequate move speed. Just to deal with Ursa.
I'm actually kind of sad we don't get to see what we were joking about early on. Okay, so FNG finally gonna, FNG's gonna die. Notel's gonna enchant, and they both went to deny their own. But FNG is so low on life. Notel's just gonna finish him up, but no, can't see him through the tree line, back underneath the tier 1 tower. And we were joking about Chakra working with the early Devourer over on a Doombringer and just the crazy amount of farm you can get. Bottom lane again, Jerax, all that bonus damage. Is that even a kill? Mischief just dodging the attacks from the tower. And once again, OG finding the power through that Monkey King while FNG hiding in the tree lines. Notel's going to trap him in. And Illumina will only tickle the OG lineup, who is now 3-0.
Wow.
And they're the ones running the fast tempo.
And it's like Kevin brought up on the Weatherman segment. If you look behind the wave, Immersion was once again not actually contesting the lane, but choosing to pull that second creep wave all the way in front of tier 3. So he's leaving his Doom on an island to just get zoned out solo by a Monkey King. You can't trade hits with this hero. So yeah, you're denying a wave, but Afterlife's just screwed the whole time this goes on. And OG still have lane control because they tank their own wave in front of tower. They're just completely owning the bottom lane.
They are in the bottom. They've had a pretty damn good time up on top. The only other question lane you're going to have is in mid, where Thompson's is being pushed back pretty deep. But Afo copped a fair chunk of damage and doesn't have any regeneration nearby. Thompson, of course, has just got to cross up.
He actually canceled the salve there with a cold snap. And as Nahaz brought up, I mean, you look at the regen from 2 Quas, he'll be able to sustain. You got to be careful Afo Ninja.
Ranger Asmo doing up bottom lane. Immersion. It's going to be Boundless Strike to slap him down, and the range attack from Jerax to finish the job. They're initiating pretty heavily underneath that tier 1 tower. It's just so, it's going to be so difficult. 2 melee on the off lane against the support Monkey King, who's very, he doesn't even care if he dies. He'll create the space.
And it's really cool. You'd think that Ursa's a counter to Enchantress, but keep in mind that that W, the enchant, that actually will dispel the overpower.
Oh, Seb even dodges the rolling boulder coming in. There's no vision looking for this. It's just the daytime vision from the creep wave.
It feels like the supports of OG are just tailor-made to defeat the Gambit cores in lane. Like, you can't actually play aggressively as the Hawk. He's going to get moved on now. And if he pops overpower, it's just cleansed immediately. You can't trade with PA.
This is just a bit of a nightmare for Gambit. They need to find a way to stem the bleed, or at least try and batten down the hatches. ILTW is going to have all the time in the world. Afro is going to be fine underneath the tier 1 tower, so they can hug this at least.
Yeah.
But where's the other options you've got? Like, Thompson, like, that was the mid lane. That's where the panelists wanted to look at. It was funny because most of the action ended up happening on the side lanes. But Afro versus Thompson, Afro is still getting just a little bit ahead when it comes to the CS.
It's to be expected, though. Viper's a pretty solid lane dominator. I'd say that if you can get away with an Invoker and trade evenly, especially the way these side lanes are going, you're totally happy with this if you're OG. And it only gets worse for you up top when Enchantress starts getting creeps, a couple more levels. He's just actually solo pushing the Ursa out of the lane as a level 2 Enchantress.
Oh, they've broken the Thompson Invoker in mid with Immersion trying to initiate. Forces a TP in from Jerax. But no kill coming the way of Gambit. And what does Seb instantly do? Runs towards the Doombringer. But that is a Doombringer.
Yeah. But they've done such a great job at shutting him down that Seb is going to have... He already has 1,200 gold. Doom just brown boots. Jerax now going to hop through the trees. Might look to set up a kill here.
He's going to bounce down right on top of the Doombringer, keep that slow up, and then start stacking up the Jinku. No Tower will die in the meantime, so the Hawk finally getting himself on the board, but Doombringer, the Boundless Strike, slapped him back to the underworld. Meanwhile, it was the battles for the 5-minute runes, and Gambit come out on top of those.
I don't know if you mind if you're OG. It's all about the experience more so than the gold. You're still winning your lanes. And I'm afraid, I'm not a huge believer in support Monkey King, but when you get first blood and you're in this favorable of a matchup, like it actually looks dominant. And no one from Gambit can come down here anymore.
Yep. I should also flag the fact that it was actually ILTW got both of the bounty runes up on top. So while Gambit, I thought, oh, it's great because they got both ones on bottom. They're stuck underneath their tier 1 tower on top lane. ILTW gets hit pretty heavily by the blast, but with no tail arriving, he's got a lot of support and just an easy way to stand on the lane.
4 out of the top 5 net worths, all OG heroes. In Gambit's lineup, I favored them, but...
They go towards mid, rolling boulder forward, going towards Thompson. There's your kick back. He does get the EMP Tornado off, creating a little bit of space so Immersion can't chase him, and Afro's got nothing to really fight with.
Anna.
He needs one charge, as Thompson will even grab the DD rune on the way through.
And he walks straight to the shrine, doesn't even care. This seemed to be Secret's answer to Gambit as well. Shut down Immersion. He's 0-1-0. One of the best roamers in the CIS region, but he just can't get anything done.
Doombringer, Jirax wants to keep chasing him down, able to keep connecting in. With those early phase boots from Jirax, he can just zone out every melee hero who's alone.
This is tough if you're Gambit. Your lineup's predicated on being ahead. That's the core concept. They want to be on the enemy side of the map, utilizing these tanky cores that can apply pressure to win those one-on-one scenarios and then have Immersion off map, potentially looking to find kills. When you're behind in lanes with heroes like Viper, Ursa, Doom, like you're run-in heroes. You don't farm waves that effectively. OG.
Rolling ball is coming in again. Thompson, he's actually taunting as he walks a little bit further down. He knows that there is no way the Gambit can kill him. Viper's coming in a little bit closer. Just hits level 6 with EMP Tornado, Doombringer, dry as a bone.
And this OG is reminiscent of their TI performance, at least in the way that they, like the all chat spam, the confidence that everyone's moving with. It feels like they're playing with absolute no fear. They're dominating their lanes, which is not something they were able to do at TI, but still.
Well, you've come out of your draft, you're like, hey, everything actually feels really good for us. All the synergy is going to be there. But are they pushing enough? So OG's getting a lot out of this. They're 3K ahead. They're 5-1 on the board, 8 minutes in. Can Gambit fight back? Is there a timing that they can reach on, like, the Hark? Is Viper going to reach that point where we were talking, like, the fact that he can create problems for the Monkey?
I mean, Viper's never getting to that point at this rate. He's just farming jungle with 2K net worth.
Rolling boulder, they're coming in. Notal will die pretty damn quickly. 3 heroes used to do it. And then they're moving towards bottom lane. Gambit, their keeper of the light, that has to try and push back OG. Of course, that is something he's very proficient at with the Coddle Blast.
Yeah, and I look at the Hawk's skill build and I question, you know, the lack of innovation on this Gambit side. It's fine to pick your heroes, don't get me wrong, but no point. I know most Ursas, they go 0-4-4 nowadays, but I've watched the Hawk, like he can't play aggressively because his overpower is just going to be purged by no tail. No points in Earthshock. I feel like that would be at least a way to help Immersion find some kills, but he provides no disable himself. So PA's just safely farming, no problems. Mid, you're going to have a rotation from Seb. He's got ultimate active and an invis rune. This is a great movement.
He just needs to find somebody.
Yeah.
But for the moment, it's like, it's heavy stacking over on the side jungle. Gambit want to initiate up on top, so rolling boulder, that wasn't who Immersion wanted to go to, so he has to go over towards the kick to Hark. This is his level of aggression against Notel, able to do it, enraged up. He'll also be able to grab himself the Sada.
Oh, Seb's on a sentry ward.
Coming in on top of Afo.
Gotta be careful, Afo. You got no boots.
It's such a slow Viper. Support's moving over. The Dire scan towards the west. They wonder if Seb left, but he didn't. So if Seb wants to initiate, he can go into the Bruce split. And ES can't do much about that, but they can see Thompson moving over. Remember, this is nighttime. Vision's pretty low, and that's why rolling boulder down from Immersion gets himself away from Jirax. And Afo will reach the tier 2 tower safely.
Yeah, but this is just such a miserable Viper game. The way to beat this hero is to neutralize him in the laning phase and then abuse the fact that he just doesn't farm creeps as effective as most other heroes. It's a lot like Razor. Gotta stay ahead. But if you don't ever get ahead to begin with...
Yep. Doom's dead.
You sure?
He can't escape from this one. The clamps will slow him down. You can go into your Scorched Earth, but the amount of damage that Jirax is able to enable for then Seb to get the last hit, it's just way too good. This Hand of Midas from the Brewmaster coming at a good time. FNG a little too close. Immersion has to go for the kick, but a nice dodge from Jirax. Very mischievous.
They're just walking over them, Toby.
I love how, too, they ensure that Seb gets the last hit as well. They are just trying to rapidly increase his hand to Midas timing.
And once again, N0tail with the friendly wolf creep. However he could find a way to utilize this creep, really just the team of OG. We saw Seb ensure that he would have it devoured at all times in that game 2 yesterday.
You got to ban Enchantress and Chen, right, against OG just against N0tail every time.
You got to ban Furion. You got to ban Ember.
Hey, at least you don't have to ban Troll. At least you don't have to ban Io. You don't have to ban him anymore.
That's true. Just a matter of time, though. Can expect OG to maintain this pool of support heroes in perpetuity, really. And if Wisp gets added as well, there's no actual way to ban out N0tail's pool. Reminiscent of the TI3 Alliance, where everyone knew how they would start their drafts, couldn't really do anything about it.
Yeah. Jirax looking to jump in towards the mid lane, Immersion as well as FNG. Blasting down the wave, good kick. They're actually dropping Jirax down from his trees, and it's going to hold him in position. Mischief, and then with Boundless Strike, but it won't be enough, and that's a good streak to end. To go into Immersion, however, Afro would have really liked that money.
Yeah, and I really want to point out just OG's willingness to play each game uniquely, much like Secret. Because he's playing against Viper, because of the state of the game, maybe it's just a Support Monkey King thing, but you see that Jirax actually maxed out Tree Dance. So that provides he's now able to just farm waves thanks to his experience, and in addition, you're not as affected by standing in Nether Toxin, because your hero is more about landing this leap than getting Jingu stacks, but as a level 1 ability, that was enough to just zone out Doom completely. Afterlife at only 2,800 net worth right now. Yep. Looks like he's still going for Midas. Not sure if that's the way you want to go here, because OG is going to be scaling. I feel like you need to get aggressive.
It does feel like the game is starting to stagnate a little bit for OG. Like, yeah, they're still finding some kills across the map. They have 3 of the top 4 net worths, but that 5K lead has pushed down a little bit further to about 3,000, and the experience is swinging back the other way.
I think you're all right with that. Just because you have the PA, you have a Midas on your brew, you'll probably be going something like Vlad's Radiance with a blink in there somewhere.
But you also,
it's Invoker, it's Thompson Invoker. This is a late game hero.
I'm with you on that front, but at the same time, like I don't want to count Gambit out, and there's just a couple of things that make me start to question, like, is OG as secure as they feel? Because they feel very secure at the moment.
I don't think that they're in any pressure to do something, though. You can see Seb just spamming ult fake casting. Like, they're bored. And
well, go and fight then, will you?
The downside of the Gambit lineup is that Immersion's the only playmaker. And because he wasn't able to get the momentum going, you're now in a spot where you want to use your ultimates. You'd love to pop a Doom on somebody and find a kill, but there's just no one for Immersion to play around. You have a Midas on your Ursa, mid-hero's a Viper. Like, the 3 cores are just actually all farming passively in the jungle. Doom wishes he had a jungle, but unfortunately, both sides have already been occupied.
You actually see like the ES is moving across the map, so Immersion, he's trying to be involved everywhere. Obviously more on the south side.
But more importantly, on the northeast side of the map, he's not able to cross the river, can't find a ford.
They get across this way. Under the cover of smoke, they were just out of range of that Radiant Orbs, I believe. Meanwhile, up on top, the dive is coming in, the Will-O-Wisp. FNG goes up and towards the air, and he'll hit the ground. But on bottom lane, this is where the rebuttal is going to be. A quick Doom out, Brewmaster, no split available, and with the Magnetize, N0tail's also on the run. Dahak trying to buff himself up, looking for that big fight in. N0tail turns quickly, but is there going to be enough damage? Dahak still going underneath the tower, combining with Immersion. So it's a 2-for-1 trade-off. And then Gambit add pressure into the tier 1 tower, because the save is being done up on top by OG.
Yeah, it was well played by Immersion, setting up that kill. They have to get the Doom off before split. It was well timed. Surprised that Seb actually died to that. He had a ward.
TP's in the bottom lane.
He has no ult.
Puts down this full Spirit Vessel, and you're right, no ultimate, and he's actually got the money. He hasn't spent it yet, but he could buy a Blink Dagger if he dies right now. Actually, he doesn't want to. One charge will give him some life. Still hasn't bought that Blink Dagger. Dahak going to be efficient. ILTW, vision up the hill. They know that definitely Blast connects. 55 HP, and they find the kill. He'll buy the Blink Dagger, so they will not be delayed that timing of the critical item. Immersion will die himself as well on that bottom lane. 4 heroes from OG rotate over.
This Spirit Vessel on Quaswex Invoker, you just pop a Cold Snap on someone, it's going to proc every single tick opportunity. And OG just have this massive team fight advantage, specifically their counter initiation. If you don't Doom the Invoker, it's going to be reminiscent of last game where Thompson offers so much peel and save for his team. the Gambit lineup, they want to find that initial kill, and then boom, you drop the coddle ult. Now you have your team fight, but I don't know how they're going to get that first target if Thompson's hands are on his keyboard.
They're going into Roshan.
15 minutes in, just typical OG.
You've got Vlad's, you've got a little bit to work with. There's the alacrity of Thompson that's giving ILTW the damage, but immersion. He's going to come over. Notel's very close. They start off with a kick already. Notel down to half-life. FNG wants to get a position so he can actually get something out. Will-O-Wisp off cooldown in 3 seconds time. Watch that mark, especially as Dahaka's already killed off Notel. Lumina flies in towards the pit. They see Roshan at 1/3, but they want the kill. Rolling boulder forward with the Magnetize and the Will-O-Wisp and the Blinding Light. They're in way too deep. Thompson wants to try and fight out, but Afro's just breaking him out. Invoker can't do anything. They'll fight back quickly. Immersion will finally go down, but here comes your Blast right over OG, hitting Jirac so hard he can't be there, but it's the big army. The center will finally go down. The Brewlings are about to time out. Afro has managed to live through all of this. Couldn't get the wand charges off in time. No buyback available for him. And OG, thanks to their buybacks, they are able to stand in front of the pit. But can they finish what they started? They're going to try.
They spent their advantage on that buyback. They need this Aegis, as you said, to make this value.
Keeper of the Light's going to be ready again.
Is Doom active?
Coddle Blast is coming in. You got the Blink Dagger on the Earth, so they're going to get some extra information. It hits pretty hard. Jirax and ILTW, they're low. And ILTW, he's already got the open slot. It looks like it will be there, Roshan. Another Coddle Blast in. Man, that's a very, very low. Don't get bashed. ILTW, but they have the Aegis of the Immortal.
Surprised they didn't look to take that engagement, but they're just not confident. With no Coddle ult and no Earth Spirit's Magnetize, it's very dangerous. You can see the amount of peel. Once again, the Ursa specifically is going to have a tough time. Eventually, Force Staffs are going to come online. You've got Monkey King with the stun, Bruised tossing you in the air, more stun, split, dagger spam, purge spam from Enchantress, and then Thompson Invoker. It's so hard to play these melee heroes.
But it was the control factors you were talking about before. Dahak, okay, he's going to rage. He doesn't have mana for a TP, even with the 3-1 charges. Now connect on the Boundless Strike. Now he's got 4. Now the mana for the TP is available. A blink away. And Ursa is able to escape the clutches of OG.
They're able to push mid in the meantime.
TP's coming in. You've already got Nether Toxin down. Lock him in. Rod of Atos. Brewmaster can't go anywhere. Quickly deleted. And Notel will be the follow-up. Viper is just doing the work. A double kill for him. You said so far Afro's had some issues, but during that whole fight around the front of Roshan, he was completely uncontested in his positioning. The Rod of Atos timing has been perfect.
And OG, very sloppy. You're trying to defend a mid-tower. This is what Gambit wants you to do. They're just going to try and roll over you. And if you're trying to take a fight with equal numbers, let alone at a disadvantage, you're going to get wrecked. There's a reason Viper's getting first picked in other tournaments. You can't threaten these heroes. And Seb, he didn't even have a split up. So really, they didn't even need to doom him. He's just teleporting in, hoping that his balls are so big that he'll intimidate Gambit into retreating.
Sorry, Thompson's the only one who's got the balls and he's juggling them, but he'll have to juggle them pretty well to survive bottom lane. The silence turns on, and Invoker, man, he's in so much trouble. A push back, but it won't help. It disarmed Ursa. He'll still get the clamp. The damage is available. It will be the Doombringer to bring down the Infernal Blade and kill off the Invoker. 70 seconds on the sideline. That long death time because he fought back in front of Roshan. So much time on the sidelines means that Doom, the one who had a horrendous start, is almost the same net worth as the Invoker now.
We finally have a game on our hands, Toby. It feels like Gambit, really, really shaky start, but the nerves have disappeared. They're now in a position where it's very winnable, but they gotta try and get onto OG's side of the map. I don't believe that they'll be able to outscale the PA, even though Doom and Ursa win Midas, so you can certainly stay in the game, don't get me wrong, you just Doom PA. But at a certain point, Thompson's going to have a Linken's. He's going to place that on the ILTW Phantom Assassin, and there's going to be a win condition for OG all game, which is fight with Doom down or deny it, and there's no longer any control.
You could always just have the Arrow of the Silences. I suppose it's the upside of not having a BKB that fast for ILTW, but that level 25 talent, is there ever a reason you're 120 damage over going the Nether Toxin Silence if you're already having disarm from it as well? If this game is going to go late.
I'm not sure. We'll get to that when we'll cross that bridge later.
Okay, I'm a little too far ahead. Sure. Let's reel it back in. Bottom lane, OG's going to attack the tier 1 tower on bot. And Doombringer can do nothing to defend this. Their biggest counter push has come through FNG's Keeper of the Light, who's been doing it tough.
Yeah, but you can see Gambit just very hesitant around the map. They've got 3 heroes playing top, the Coddle, the Earth Spirit, and the Ursa just hunting. They're gonna see Thompson. They've Dust. Oh no, it was backpacked. If Immersion had Dust active there, they're going to catch Thompson almost
Here's
for
the
sure.
Sentry
But now
Ward.
he's on.
He's walked in. Well, the rocks come down, but he's out of range of the Sentry Ward. Is that Dust ready? Yes, it is. So Thompson revealed that they can't keep the attack going, or can they? The rolling boulder forward. They burst on each other. Immersion and G-Rex. G-Rex will have to pop back down again. The Magnetize turns on an Immersion. He needs to get the hell out of here. Rolling boulder up and away.
But
TP
bottom.
scrolls available, but as you said, on bottom lane. Enchantress has already gone down. The defense is there, but his top where the TP out is just in time. He's disarmed, but he's alive and back in Fountain.
A lot of cat and mouse, but you can see ILTW playing a lot like we saw Nisha yesterday on this PA. Just not participating. I've got a Battle Fury. I'm going to continue to accelerate. Everyone else, you enjoy yourselves.
And even with the kill count going 12-12, the advantage is actually swinging bet-wise towards OG. It's only 1 point the difference.
I think Thompson's itemization got to be troubling if you're an OG fan. I don't mind it, but when you go Spirit Vessel Force Staff, you're no longer that late game force that we come to expect when we watch, say, like the Miracle Invoker, the mid one Invoker, the no one Invoker. This is very much still that utility. It's weird, but that's Thompson's playstyle in a nutshell.
Weird.
Different.
So unusual. How many more words can we find to describe while Gambit just move around under the cover of smoke, trying to find their own targets?
They're running out of smokes, though. I believe this is their 3rd, possibly their 4th of the game. They used one to kill Thompson earlier. They've been saving this one for some time, but I question, you know, this is something that I criticize VP for even. It's just a CIS habit of, hey, guys, like do nothing smokes. Like, we're bored. There's nothing happening. We don't really know what to do here to properly position ourselves. So let's just smoke and see what happens. But Roche hasn't spawned and will not be spawning for 2 to 5 minutes. You want to look to play around that area. I would have preferred to see them utilize that smoke to try and get enemy wards deep into the jungle, because you have Bounty Runes spawning in 2 minutes. You've got the Roche in 2 to 5. Like, that's the time in this game where things are going to heat up.
They just put a
Itemization's
defensive one
gonna be
instead.
that.
Like they just put one watching that top bounty rune, that's it. That's all they achieved with the smoke, and they did that underneath their own Dire Observer ward.
And this is OG. They're going to make that same move. They're smoking 4 wards. FNG, he might pop this. He will. Nice positioning. This is good 5 support play.
Yeah, they're picking out. They know he's in the tree lines. Quick Observe ward being planted down, and the jump up, so FNG. Let's break the smoke. Oh, hello, Immersion. He TP'd in towards the tier 2 tower. Afro trying to find Thompson, at least battle against Thompson. Nether Toxins are absolutely everywhere, and now Doom's going to arrive. He gets the Doom over on the Phantom Assassin, and Thompson just locked down in the back lines. Dahak going to work with Immersion. The Will-O-Wisp giving Afro a little bit more space to get back and to pop off the Greaves. These Brutally Control hasn't done enough. They may be able to kill on the Phantom Assassin. Yeah, you bet. Dahak with a double kill, looking for a triple. Seb, he's gone back into his normal Brewmaster, and that is nowhere near as strong. Down he will go.
And I just criticized Gambit. I'm going to criticize OG as well. Same deal. They get the ward off that they wanted. You get a free pick off. Accept that. Get another ward deep into the jungle. Taking that fight is just not going to work out for you. You can see Seb, he's forced to split right away. Didn't even get a clap off because he knows that if he's doomed, they may just end up losing the fight. But that just means that now your PA's damage is going to be neutered, because even with the BKB, he's not able to do enough DPS. And the initial target was Viper?
Yeah.
Like, the guy with Greaves and 2,000 health?
And it was only Thompson, right, who initiated, so it wasn't going to be a quick kill. Doom had time just to walk up and come through the shrine area and just get the Doom off on whatever target he chose.
And I like the choice as well from Afterlife to get that Blink Dagger, because his Doom, if he can get it off on a critical target, Brew before split, or the PA at any point, you're going to win these engagements. And it's still relatively even game. Gambit take their first advantage, I think, for some time. They've got to be feeling confident. Bounty Runes are about to spawn in 15 seconds. But the downside of the draft, however, no Will-O-the-Wisp, no Doom. It's very difficult to take team fights. OG know this. They're going to look for an engagement right now.
Yeah, they're smirked up, looking for the 25-minute Bounty Rune battle. Doombringer, he'll just stand there, grab it, has the Blink Dagger to get away. So this will actually end up being a 3-for-1 trade-off with the Bounty Runes in favor of Gambit if Immersion wants to cross the river. But OG continue to go in deep, looking for their target.
And look at this ward. OG have the information they need. They place another one deep on that top right hill. It's very nice round roach, but you want to ward over aggressively because usually de-warding will be done closer to the areas where the team thinks you're going to be looking to fight them. Instead, you just get vision of what areas they're currently standing in.
Oh, they're just going on to tops, and there's a quick dust going to be triggered, so there's no way to hide, but you can just force staff and run.
And that's how OG are going to win fights. Right there was a perfect demonstration. Hard initiating on a Viper, you're going to get punished every single time. That was a 3 or 4 man FNG Ignis Fatuus. You've got to try and kite. Bait the big spells, the Doom and the Will-o-the-Wisp. If you can get one out and then get back, you can re-engage. But you've just got to be careful. And Seb, I think, has to be a bit more conservative with the split usage because the same goes for Gambit. They've got the PA BKB and the Brew split to really worry about.
I actually love too the itemization from Afro going in for this blade mail. You talked about initiating on a Viper and then you're going to get punished. Like you initiate, he's got so much armor. He's sitting at 27 armor over on this Viper. Not to mention if PA throws out a dagger, it's like, well, okay, well let's go, boys. Let's trigger the blade mail. Let's turn around. If you want a piece of me, you'll hurt yourself pretty hard.
Yeah. In the same spot, mid one, he actually did the exact same thing in that game we watched him play against Gambit yesterday. So obviously FNG reviewed that tape, recognized, hey, maybe we should give this guy a try. And you know, we're new to it, so why don't we just copy what mid one did? As he is the top MMR in the world, along with being arguably on the best team here. But both these sides fighting desperately for a shot to...
Yeah, Gambit want the rematch and OG want the chance.
I think OG are just appreciating the challenge. They're finally back playing some good Dota. Still some mistakes here and there.
Challenge on top lane. Oh, the perfect king. Jirax falls from his perch and the king has been dethroned. Dead for a very long time.
And Roche is up.
Look how this Observe Ward is paying dividends for OG on bottom lane. They saw Immersion TP in, they saw Doombringer starting to aggressively posture, so OG just back off. They know how hard they can push this lane.
I just realized, look at Jerax's item build. He actually just went Medallion Deso. That means all the Monkey Kings and his Wukongs will be applying that Deso. Huge damage amplification for your PA. And then obviously you can put the Medallion up as well. Really cool. OG, they always find ways to somehow acquire damage, amplification, and reduction, and they do it consistently. It's a big part of the reason why their drafts work, and especially this PA, because he uses damage amp better than most other heroes because of the crit factor. And they walk straight into the pit.
Time for the big man.
BKB finished on Doom.
OG was aware too that Roshan's up, that one little stolen creep. Checks the status of it all, but it's already a little too late. As Sentry wards it down, they see the Doombringer. That's going to be a big burn. They need to ensure that's why he just BKBs, so he can still get that Doom off, looking for the target. ILTW will be the one trying to represent, but it's a Will-o-Wisp, creating a little bit more space. Immersion, maybe he can get away with this. One more second, he could Rolling Boulder away. No, that won't happen. It's a big magnetized, heavy damage, and they move towards Afro. Jirax into the Wukong's command. They want a better position to fight, and that's able to enable it. Afro, he's still got so much life, still got so much regeneration. They've already lost the enchanters, but OG are pressuring forward. But the Hawk is bigger. And they move to Invoker. Doomed up this entire fight. Can't be involved at all and will go down, giving a double kill to the Doombringer. And Gambit are rolling forward. 5k advantage, and they're pushing down mid.
Yeah, the PA popped his BKB so early in that fight that ILTW never really got a chance to commit. And without his damage, without him always in that fight, there's no way OG are able to keep up with the output that Gambit's got. And once again, they're setting up on this Viper. Good initiation, but from the Gambit, like OG, they have that opportunity to potentially jump the Doom, but I've had that happen to me so many times with friendly Invokers where the Tornado overlaps with one of my big stuns. So you kill the Will-o-the-Wisp, you even kill Immersion, but how you can't choose this cheese Viper as a target. It's not real.
Yep.
Even with the Monkey King ult down, you can see he just turned and hit the Jerax MK in the face and took him out, no problems. Yeah, you've got a lot of damage, but 1400 health, and Monkey King dies.
The Dire is scanning and pings positive as Seb's going to arrive. He doesn't have Brewmaster split. It was all for the bounty runes and Monkey King. Jirax initiates in over on FNG. Blind Knight push him up, Rod of Atos. He actually dodges it with the Mischief. So not locked in position, and Gambit Oh, Immersion didn't get the role that he really wanted, and now ILTW moves forward. Immersion, once again, the first player to die at the beginning of these fights. The Monkey King wants to give them another target. Underneath the Observer Ward, FNG TP out will not work. Triggering the bash from the Stifling Dagger of ILTW will allow Thompson to finish off FNG.
And it's the exact same story, Toby. Gambit win a fight, OG not discouraged, know that the big cooldowns are not prepared, and they can then move and get aggressive. Gambit have no interest in taking these fights without everything ready to go. They are perfectly fine sacrificing their supports.
Monkey, he's not going to get this kill. Dahak actually had a lot of confidence there. He saw the Observer Ward being placed before he walked around the corner, because the Dire Sentry Ward is in range.
And again, just look at the net worths. Thompson specifically. The Viper is going to beat him to Ags. That's going to be a big tool and just kiting the PA. There's no Lincolns that's going to be up on anybody for some time. He's just going to spam that Viper strike. He also talented for it.
Yeah,
It's 245 damage per second.
It still feels crazy going into the late game though, because like the Phantom Assassin late game does an incredible amount of damage.
Yeah, but it's going to be difficult for him to stay on targets. He's got Doom to worry about. Viper Strike's going to be constantly spammed on him. There's a Shiva's about to be completed on the Doom. Gambit, I don't know who you actually going to be able to target as this PA.
You play it from range and triple Stifling Dagger. Try and get some chip damage against Gambit before the fight begins. Give them some level of opportunity, because it looks like so far OG's initiation doesn't work anymore. It started with Jirax. Jirax was the way these fights would just begin, but do you feel odd when it's Seb not able to play that stun initiation? It's not a big RP. It's not a hoof stomp. It's not just a slaughter crush. It's this Brewmaster. I'm jumping in. I'm not even going to clap. I'm instantly going to split kind of play.
I think it's just yesterday they had a draft that was tooled to help out their PA carry. This time they've had to itemize for it, and they've lost. Thompson specifically, you can play like triple Wraithband Vlads. You can be very efficient when you're playing those type of heroes, but Invoker is a different style. And when you go for these early game items and you can't close out the game, you can just see he's going to be doubled up by these top cores pretty soon.
Look at Dahak. He wants to fight. He's got 35 seconds left on this Aegis the Immortal. He just wants one target he could jump on. Bait out ability from OG, and that's what he's going to do. Jumps over, straight up to Thompson. A Force-Up almost gets him out of range of the Will-O-Wisp, but that half a second he turned around was a second long enough, and Notel will go down to the Aegis the Immortal. It's not even going to be required as they go from one to the other. ILTW jumps over towards Seb. He wants to go invis, but it won't happen. Dahak is still there. They'll be able to easily find this kill on ILTW. He jumps up, looks for a little bit of a crit. Maybe he starts to have enough damage when he gets the extra bashes out and the Abyssal Blade, but no, they just run him down. Beyond godlike. For Dahak, and the Aegis is gone, and they got 3 kills and didn't even have to really expend it.
I love watching just simple Dota executed to perfection. Gambit, they finished big items. They got the Shivas on Doom. They got notably the MKB on the Ursa. They still had Aegis. Now is the time to smoke and go. They're already on the OG side of the map. PA dead for 55. I don't even know if Ryback helps.
Dahak just chased it, blinked, fought towards Seb. Couldn't get the connection. Fortification will buy some time. 8 seconds before Thompson's going to live, but this mid-Rax, it's going to be gone before they can really fight. Rod of Atos holds Brewmaster in place, and they start over on Notal. Jirax, it's a good boundless strike on 3. The only reason I say it's good is because it creates enough space as Gambit look for the kills. They didn't get one, so they have to back up and not take the tier 3 tower. But that's why they just pull out, reinsert, go for the tier 3 tower, but they don't get what they wanted. The BKB being blown from Dahak and no kill.
It's a disconnect right now. Gambit, FNG, you got to get your squad under control. That's twice now Dahak initiated while his heroes were taking those couple of steps back. He's looking to be aggressive. His team has no interest in doing such. Got to make sure you're on the same page here. You've got a big advantage, but PA is still arguably the hardest carry. And you look at the items he's got queued up. 96 gold on that PA, but if he could potentially finish the Nullifier and the Lincolns that he's got queued, that's when things start to turn around for OG. But that third Roach could be everything.
Then he can
get a Refresher Doom. Oof.
Yeah, I would say he can have some protection against the Doom, but when you've got 2 of them available, Doom just needs another item that can help trigger the Lincoln Sphere, and he'll do it all himself. ILTW is looking for a kill with Thompson. The only person who was close was Afro. They need those aggressive observer wards down once more, but the sentry wards are watching both, and now over towards Viper. It's not the target they want.
He has a BKB as well, Toby. There's no way you're going to be able to take him down.
FNG,
30 armor.
FNG is the only target they can go for, right? Like, that's it.
I think Dahak would be ideal, because he's also the main source of sustained damage on the side of Gambit. Afo Ninja would be great, but he's got BKB Shivas. It's just not realistic to think you're going to take out that Doom, who's continuing to scale. Remember, he was behind significantly in the laning phase, but he rushed Midas and that level 15 talent for the Devour bonus gold.
They're smoking and fighting. It's two waves pushing in through the top lane, however. If no one from OG is defending this, you know Gambit's looking for it, and they're just using Afo as bait. Leave him in the mid. Go on it, OG. Go on it. We dare you. We double dare you. We triple dare you.
I like the movement from OG. They're a crafty and collected team, even at a disadvantage, but you can feel it in the game. They know they're behind and that they're outmatched in these 5-on-5 engagements. Gambit, they're moving around like a line of tanks. There's no real way to puncture these lines when you're walking around through the jungle with muskets.
One of the catapults got taken out. They're using them to scout from Nortown to get all the backline information. So they're looking towards the Doombringer. What do you want to go on? Monkey King's up at the tree.
They're doing everything they can, but Gambit, I think they've got a read on this. They have a nice ward behind them. Just go high ground, folks. Yeah. I don't think that even inside the base, that your 5-man is penetrable.
Well, the OG's not even in position. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to TP back into your base now? Double catapult waves coming through mid. They still want to fight, but they're coming underneath the Dire Observe ward. Seb reveals himself, ILTW as well, and they saw the smoke. And here we go. Dahak finds his target. Over towards ILTW, gets the chain bashes onto the PA. PA is instantly deleted. They go up for the other kills. Nortel outside the base. The stuns are out. And this really does feel like the game when you've got PA down for 70 seconds. How does OG defend?
That's all they needed, was just the initiation. In a span of 3 seconds, the 2 most farmed heroes on OG died. Like, immediately. They did use the Doom. There is a buyback available on the Brew, but PA, he's just so poor. ILTW hasn't been able to get on the map for a while. And I think if you're Gambit, you just methodically start killing structures.
Yep, take out the mid, move towards the top. Can't claim the bottom, mainly because the creep wave is out and the tier 2 tower is still available there.
Impressive showing, really, from Gambit. Remember, this game at a point was tied at 12-12, and it looked like OG was in a dominant position, but since then, 15-4, this kill score.
I'm interested to see how long before Jirax wants to come back. They just accept the fact they've lost 2 lanes of Rags. Jirax has a Rapier queued up, and he's currently farming on the Dire side of the river. Oh boy, they lost. Oh, Nortail. A little too close to the sun, gets burnt.
And I think after this game, throughout the rest of this final day at ESL One, Viper and Doom specifically have got to be considered stronger heroes than the meta's given them credit for thus far. Specifically this Viper. His game was ruined. I think I also underestimated his farming mechanic, because when you go this Arcane's Atos build, you actually just spam Nether Toxin, and it feels like you're like a Lina moving through the jungle instead of what I always thought of as a ranged DK. Just slow and useless. Not anymore.
Not all knights or dragons have to be the same. They're pushing up through the mid now, OG. Looking to what? Roshan, he spawns right at that moment, and the Forge Spirit's gonna scout it out. They need this. They need this so quickly. Alacrity buff up on PA. They need every single crit they can get, but here comes Gambit, looking for the defense. FNG starts with the Illuminate. This may come a little late. Roshan already down to 3k life, and now here comes Ursa, BKB up, and the Doom. Roshan, well, he's not down yet. Here comes your Wukov's command. OG can fight from the top of the pit, but Thompson just locked down by the Viper. Roshan still needs a kill and an immersion inside the pit. Seb is creating enough space with the chaos of these Brewlings and the Stun Strike coming in. Is there enough damage for OG to actually stamp this one? When Invoker fires back Thompson, he disarms, pushing back Afro as well as the Ursa. They're going in again as Brewmaster. He's back to his normal form. They've lost that chaos timing, and Jirax cannot stand this fight anymore. Thompson's doing the best he can to keep everyone under control. The Boundless Strike and ILTW, he's back in again, needs to find a grip, needs to find the damage, he can't find Jack, down he will go. Jirax, he's the man doing more work than anyone else in this fight, but finally he will die. Seb will join him as well, and that's Thompson and PA dead for so damn long. There's just too much control. Brew cannot blink away, cannot get away. 4 heroes dead. This is Roshan to Gambit.
OG played that fight about as well as you could possibly expect them to. That was against the Refresher Doom. You had double BKB, Shivas, and Ultimate. They had buybacks on 3 enemies. Like, they did their best. They got spells off. They were kiting the BKBs. They forced spells. It just doesn't matter. Anytime the Ursa is on a target for more than a couple of seconds, they're just dead. And realistically, Afterlife just is not a target. He is far too tanky.
Goodbye, Nortel.
Yeah. I think this one's in the books.
Yeah, this really is game. Dark is already going for the tier 4 towers right now. There is really no way OG can defend this. Durex can buy back, but he's got no other friends to work with, and he actually TPs out towards the shrines to pick up the bounty runes. Get some money, so at least maybe some of your stats look better. But this game, game 1, it belongs to Gambit. They will take the Radiant Ancient, and they will take game 1 in the lower bracket of ESL One Katowice. GG.
Well, way to keep your composure, Gambit. Very impressive. OG, I think that in the previous days, we saw them have the easier to execute, simpler lineups that had win conditions that would develop naturally throughout the game. In this one, I feel like they had to play better than their opponents. Gambit, again, slow and steady. They had tons of mechanics in which they could just continuously increase their net worth. Really, just the PA was a force as that game continued.
Yep.
Thompson's decision to go Spirit Vessel Force, I understand the utility, but you could see his net worth. I think it went up 2,000 from my first comment on it, maybe 20 to 30 minutes earlier in the game.
Yeah, he needed more influence. OG just needed more presence on the map. They need something, because right now they're 1 game behind Gambit. Can they do it? Can they get into that grand final? We'll find out in game 2.
Certainly will, yes, as we come back to Toby 1, of course, and Kyle for game number 2's commentary. Great commentary in the first game. A game which saw Gambit take an 8-game winning streak against OG. How can they break this? Well, that's a question for our panel, isn't it? Nahaz, Fogged, and Capital is back with us. Alan, it's 8 out of 8 now for Gambit, and it doesn't look any different from the previous 7, frankly.
Kryptonite.
Yep.
That's all I got. Look, this game was all OG for the first 16 minutes. And then that Roche fight happened. OG were working on a 5K net worth lead. They spent almost all of it in buybacks, and Thompson in particular, Kyle did a good job talking about this near the end. His progress in the game was just completely arrested. He felt like he had that Roche fight, he got picked off the bottom line, felt like he had to build force, and all of a sudden he's in a situation where he's starting his ags at the 22-minute mark, instead of often we see Thompson close to finishing it.
Yeah. One of the big things for me in this game is that they feel like they also have to go for this Viper. They have to put so much attention on him, but he is an absolute monster with how tanky he is. Like, once he gets his items online, I think it's that fight where he just got, I think, the Greaves, I believe it was, or maybe just like the mech. It makes him just that much stronger because he has the spell lifesteal. We talked about the double breaks that he can do already inside of the game, so he just stands his ground. Both of those melees jump on top of him, just drops another toxin at his feet, throws his ulti, and he has that spell lifesteal healing him up. We're going to see that right here.
Yeah, this
actually,
is it. He goes from like 30
well, he did have the cheese as well, so that is the one that actually healed him up to full.
Okay.
Yeah, but look at his health though. He's so durable, but he's such a distraction because they have to go for him because he actually does so much damage inside of the team fights just from that magical build.
Yeah, they just let it be too good of a Viper game. Like, they have 4 different passives to be broken by Nether Toxin. And then on top of that, you have a Coddle who can instantly refresh Nether Toxin as well. So he's just like, pew, pew, gets 2 different ones off in a fight. Like, it just felt like one of those things that maybe was overlooked by OG.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the item build, I know the Atos Greaves is like the standard, but then the Blade Mail on top afterwards too, I was like, damn, these are great items. We were talking in the back room, and we're like, oh, he has some options, but that Blade Mail, and then he's going for the Ags. I think the game ended before that, but
it's very rare that like a later Blade Mail on these other kind of heroes is actually viable. But in this case, it's like, what else are you really going to do? You can't build like a halberd because the PA is already popping his BKB before he jumps onto you to get in range. So that's actually not going to be that effective. The Blade Mail was just kind of a perfect choice against both him and the Evoker.
Back
when he first started doing
everything. Stats. Yeah, that was when I first started doing stats. That was one of the first item splits that I looked at. Is Blade Mail is just an absolute dog-s item after the 20-minute mark typically, but in this particular game, for the very reasons Fogg said, Viper was attracting so much attention, and it just penalizes you even more for going on him.
Okay, those are the thoughts of our 3 panelists. We've also got 1 extra member here, of course, of the broadcast team. A particular thing that I know a lot of you out there have enjoyed, me too as well. So let's head over and find out what Purge has for us.
Hey guys, going to take a look at some of the early game stuff now. I think what OG focused on, like typical, was trying to have these lane matchup advantages. They picked the Monkey King really early, and typically Thompson is a guy that plays that. So by picking it, it basically set up Gambit for picking a hero matchup that could beat it in the lane. I know you guys said that it had very good counters in the mid game, especially because of Nether Toxin, but at least in the laning stage, it didn't work out too great. Now, one other cool thing they did with Monkey King is they bought a really fast Orb of Venom here, which slows enemies. The problem is that Monkey King himself can't take that much damage, but they're able to get this first blood onto Hawk on the Ursa, and as a result, he got a fast 400 gold. They also turned this into a couple last hits in the lane here. Seb actually letting JRX get a couple of these because he was able to get a really fast boots of speed, and because of that, now he's got a slow and he's got further movement speed for himself. So he swings into the side chop here, swings back around to get behind the Doom, and all of a sudden Doom is in a ton of trouble. He ends up getting killed in his lane. So now they've got the support that can trade really well against melee heroes and get lifesteal, and all of a sudden Doom is essentially zoned. So if we take a look at the relative last hits over here, we've got Doom down here at 20 last hits compared to Seb's 67 and 21. So while they maybe had some late game matchup problems, they had a huge advantage by the 10-minute mark. 4K is insane. So I thought it was going to be most likely OG running away with the game, but Gambit did two really smart things that got them back in this game. Now, one was smoke ganking the bot lane. We're about 14 minutes into the game here. Seb is about to finish his Vlads, and it looked like OG was pretty much prepping to go take a Roshan and then start their trajectory, but they did a smart smoke gank. They rolling bouldered at the same time that they doom Seb. This fight's over. That's right before Vlads. And finally, when they do start the Roche fight, we're already up to 15.5 minutes. This is like 2 minutes later than we just saw that gank. So they had successful ganks despite the really bad laning stage. They had a really good team fight here where Thompson was forced to buy back because they engaged well. That's what got Gambit back in this game and countered OG's early game strategy.
Perfect. Perfect explanation as to how OG looked really good in the early stage and obviously ended up falling away at the end. It always comes down, Folk, doesn't it, to just a couple of things that could change in the game. You know, a couple of team fights or a couple of moments in time. You saw Seb almost on that Vlads, and then suddenly they come in and they wipe him out on the team fight. Is there anything they could have done differently, OG, do you think? Because they had such a good start to this game.
Man, I mean, there's always things that you can do better, right? There's always like a couple extra things
I mean,
you can
just
do,
in terms of game changing, you know, stopping Gambit playing the way they did in that mid to late game.
I mean, it's hard to say because so many things started off well for OG,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you look at that, right, the combination of being able to get first blood and then a fast boots on a Monkey King, like, that is a death sentence for Doom's laning phase, right? If you don't have that early setup boots, then the laning phase is easier. And then on top of that, there was the mid matchup where the Viper was, like, really pressing down on the Invoker, and he goes and runs back. They're both like, he's 50 HP, I would say, above the Invoker. Invoker's only got tangos at that point in time. Our Viper has a healing salve. So what should happen here is he's going to back up, healing salve, and he's just going to attack this Invoker and shove him out of lane. He's going to have a lane phase advantage, but he doesn't back far enough away. He gets cold snap. He only gets like 20, maybe 50 health off of that healing salve. Then that gives away his entire advantage that he was supposed to have. So there's another advantage that OG has, right? Like, those two different things make two different laning phases a lot better for OG, and yet they still, well, actually, that transitioned to another thing, right? On top of that, Viper has a worse laning phase. He doesn't have enough buyback for a Roshan fight. This is an Ursa lineup. An Ursa lineup that naturally is predicated on being able to snowball off of these Roshan kills. When our Viper doesn't have a buyback, but Thompson does, this secures OG the Roshan. So that's a third thing that goes in the favor of OG off of just these little things, and yet they still lost to Gambit.
I was going to say, we almost need to have a discussion about how Gambit didn't win that sooner. We are going to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll see whether Gambit's 8-game winning streak can be snapped by OG, and they have to find that win, otherwise they are done here at ESL One Katowice.
Here comes Ursa, BKB up, and the Doom. Roshan, well, he's not down yet. Here comes your Wukong's command. OG can fight from the top of the pit, but Thompson just locked down by the Viper. Roshan still needs a kill and immersion inside the pit. Seb is creating enough space with the Chaos. He's brilliant, and the Sunstrike coming in. Is there enough damage for OG to actually stand this one when Invoker fights back Thompson? He disarms, pushing back Afro as well as the Ursa. They're going in again as Brewmaster. He's back to his normal form. They've lost that Chaos timing, and G-Rex cannot stand this fight anymore. Thompson's doing the best